Welcome back to the channel. This is Chef Mark, and today we're going to take a shallow dive into things you need to know about ventilation. Next to me, I have an OTR. That's what we call it in the business, an over-the-range microwave. And this is three things. It is a microwave, it has a light, and it is a fan. And that's what we're going to focus on, the ventilation of not only an OTR, but a couple different ways to move air in your kitchen so that you're removing odor, heat, and moisture. Let's get started. This is the most common setup you see in most homes, the OTR, the over-the-range microwave. And the reason being is that it saves quite a bit of space having the vent and the microwave above the range. I have this in my home, and quite frankly, I like it. I don't see a reason to have the microwave anywhere else. Reasons you might not have an OTR is because you don't have room in your kitchen. But then you have a separate fan, and those fans oftentimes don't have as much pulling power as an OTR. When we're measuring fan speed and how much air we're drawing, it's CFM, cubic feet per minute of air. And a cubic foot of air is about the size of a basketball. So imagine for every CFM, these tend to be 300 CFM. That's 300 balls of air being moved every minute out of your kitchen. That's quite a bit of suction. That's pretty good. And quite frankly, that's usually the minimum requirement if you have a gas range, 300 to 350 CFM. There are some calculations on how much air you need to move depending on the size of your range. And I'm not going to go into all that. It can get complicated. But what I do know is more is usually better when you're talking CFMs. So a 300 CFM fan will do a couple of things. It'll keep up with water boiling. It'll keep the front of your microwave from getting drenched, the bottom of your microwave getting drenched. It will move a fair amount of smoke, and of course it will move quite a bit of cooking odor. But this has got to vent externally. Now in my personal home, my microwave, it recirculates, and it's not ideal. I'm eventually going to change that, but what that means is that the air moves through the microwave, recirculates and kicks out somewhere, usually up at the top, through a charcoal filter. So we're not removing heat when we do that, and it's not a very effective way to remove odor and moisture as well. So ideally, these are set up to vent outside. It's actually amazing to me that code doesn't require that these fans move air to the outside, but for some reason it is not. Code, I think, dictates that running a fan through a charcoal filter is satisfactory. Ideally, if you're able to vent your fan to the outside, that is indeed best. All right, now that we know what a CFM is and what an OTR does, let's take a closer look at some other venting options. A premium option is a large hood that's independent of a microwave or any other appliance. And this is a very large hood. This is a 48-inch range with a 48-inch hood on top of it. These can be relatively expensive considering it's a box with a fan in it. But it's really critical to have this much ventilation when you have this much firepower coming off your range. So these can be, believe it or not, recirculate vented depending on the house, but the best option is to have this moving air to the outside. There's a couple different ways you can put the blower. You can put the blower directly inside of this, this casing here, and that would be the noisiest option, but also the least expensive. And then you can put a fan inline and finally externally. The farther the fan is away from the kitchen, the quieter things are, but you're adding expense. And what's interesting is these blowers, typically they're around 400 CFM per blower, and if you need more ventilation, more suction power, you just double up on the blowers. So you add two blowers, two 400 CFM blowers does indeed add up to 800 CFM. Now a lot of the manufacturers have gotten clever. What they've done is they've designed baffles and wind movement to reduce the amount of exhaust noise that is created when the fan is running. And as a rule, the more angles you have the louder the fan runs. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about adding external venting to your home. I'm standing here in front of a chimney style vent as opposed to a box style. There's a lot of different ways to move air outside of your kitchen. If you're gonna go with an independent vent like this, which I must admit does look sleeker, it looks more sophisticated than an OTR, then you need to find a place for your microwave. Some creative solutions I've seen are putting a microwave inside a pantry if you have an outlet. There's drawer style microwaves, there's countertop microwaves, there's all kinds of different ways to do that. Maybe you don't even need a microwave in your kitchen, then it's no concern of yours. Then you can go crazy on design for a vent in your kitchen. The best thing to do if you're looking to upgrade your ventilation, you're remodeling your kitchen, or maybe just home shopping, is to visit an appliance factory. They're the experts. They know the formulas for how much air to move, and they can tell you exactly what you need in your kitchen. And keep in mind that most of these vents, the bigger the vent, the more air it can move. And as a rule, you need a vent about the same width, if not wider, than your range. If you have a 30-inch range, good news, an OTR 30 inches wide, that is sufficient. If you're looking at a 48-inch grand cooking suite, then you need 48-inch minimum. You can certainly go more, but as a rule, you never want to go less. Well, I hope that helps. This is a shallow dive into the world of ventilation. There's so much to know. And the good news is that our salespeople are tuned in to the experts, to the manufacturers, and we can get you the perfect answers so that when you're making an investment in your kitchen, that you're getting the right amount of ventilation for the kind of range you have. This is Chef Mark. As always, thanks for tuning in. Do me a favor, why don't you click that subscribe button? Appreciate that. We'll see you next time.